Hello. Welcome to our 13th broadcast. We're Country Stitchers. I'm Liz.
And I'm Deb.
And for those of you who have watched us before, you'll know that this is our 13th broadcast and it's our 12th with sound. We had a little technical trouble last week. YouTube had a problem with our video on television and some computer. We had some issues with speed on some people's devices. So we really appreciate our subscribers. We got lots of feedback from people when those things started happening. And we truly appreciate those of you who can lip read. Should it ever happen again.
I couldn't watch it on my TV, but I could watch it on my phone or my iPad.
And Deb texted me, she said, "I can't see us." And I said, "Mine's working, but I have a Fire Stick and a YouTube app on my television." So we were looking at two different views of it. So
oh well,
it works now. We hope this is coming through loud and clear. And we'd like to welcome anybody who hasn't been with us before.
Yes.
At this point in our broadcast, we like to share some of the comments people have given us over the previous week. And we had a comment from Kathy Hodge. She looked at our punch needle video.
Okay.
She was just enamored with your Nana's hoop.
Oh.
If you've seen that video, Deb's grandma gave her a stand that she used to quilt on, and it was by Jasmine Heirlooms. Yeah. Can't get it anymore. That was the first thing I said. What's this called?
I know.
And we
I
looked
love
for it.
because I'll do punch needle or cross stitch on that also.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good one.
If you ever do see it, please let us know.
Yeah, snatch it up. Yeah.
We did get a comment from Jeanette. Floss Needle Stitch is her name, and she wanted you to know that she thought your ABC Stitch needlework piece that you finished last week was absolutely beautiful.
Well,
she loved the way you finished it.
Oh,
Deb is very talented when it comes to combining things. You are, you know you are. And she does a great job with that. She is my go-to, and she's my go-to, I might point out.
I can be bought.
Just kidding. Now I know. Gotta get it out now. We also had a couple inquiries from people about your finish on the Quaker Autumn Forest piece.
Oh, yeah.
Weinenberg, I think, is the German pronunciation of that designer's name. Luna 27 had asked about it. I did put a link to that on the number 8 video description. So if anybody wants to go look for it, I located it at ABC Stitch.
I'm glad you can still get it.
Yes.
Gosh, is that beautiful.
Yes.
Oh.
When we found that, it was so
pretty.
I have mine all set up, and my son doesn't watch the videos. He'll watch this now that I said that.
I'm calling Kevin.
But I'm doing it for him, and I have to get started on that. Donna was equally as complimentary about your pillow, 'Tis the Season pillow, with the Cardinal.
Oh, the Cardinal.
From Blackbird Designs.
I wish I knew that fabric. I hope I come across that.
Yeah, we had some fun with that comment thread on our video this time.
Yeah.
Donna was looking for it, and I told her where, let's see, I told her where it was found and where I had it. And then Betsy S. Hopped into the conversation, and after Donna mentioned that it was out of print, Betsy said, "Oh, but wait. It can be found in Home for the Holidays."
Good.
Yeah. So now Blackbird Design has out another publication that's still in print called Home for the Holidays. It also is on ABC Stitch. I looked it up. And you can go get that pattern there. Nice. And there is a stitch along coming up.
I saw that.
I emailed Misty about that. Or Instagram messaged her. I forget which.
Okay. I think I saw Priscilla mention that.
Okay. I want to find the link for that so I can get involved because I have everything to do it. You and I kidded them at the same time.
Yeah, you should.
So I want to work on that.
That is so pretty. I leave that pillow out all winter because it's just, you know, it's not really Christmassy. It reminds me of winter. Yeah, it's pretty.
Yep. And I love cardinals. So.
Yes, you do.
Martha Johnson watched our punch needle video, and she said she paused the video, gathered up her Joanne coupons, and headed out the door before the video was over. I hope you had fun shopping.
Yeah.
I hope it was successful.
You got some good sales.
Yep. And then Susan Warner, and also Faye Rigsby. Faye didn't comment on our video, but she commented to me at the Merchant Mall. They're both interested in commenting on those rings.
Oh, yeah, your large rings.
And I have to admit that I figured out why it was so difficult with my Weeks Dye Works colors on the bigger rings. The longer the card is that hangs, the easier they are to manage on the ring, because the knots with the half hitch aren't up against the ring, and you don't have all the bulk. So Weeks has such a small tag that those knots are right against the ring, and they get very, just kind of jumbled together.
If you have lots and lots of floss.
Yeah, that too. You can get a second ring, which is what I did. But I did notice that I have equal numbers of one of the Gentle Art rings, and it's just easier to get through because it moves easier. Yeah. So that's what I told my husband.
They do look pretty cool hanging up.
Yeah.
I told you to tell him half of those are mine.
Oh. Then we had a couple of questions about Q-snaps and a frame that I had a piece on last week. This is virtually a Q-snap design. It's a PVC with the frame pieces that come on. I can't use that hand yet, but these go over your fabric. And this is by R&R Craft Frames. I bought this and was buying it at the very first moment I met Deb at the convention at the Jubilee. It was purchased by me from Gitta, Gitta. Gitta's needlework shop is in Canada, and she still carries these. And that is the only place I know to get them. I've searched for them online. Wow. I've searched for the maker of them. Yeah. So there is a larger version, and each of these, of course, this has two sizes that you can stitch on, and it sits in your lap.
Very clever.
And I'm going to get, when I get enough mad money together, the next size up, so I can work on a little bit bigger piece. Okay. But that one, and the other question we had was...
Because you can sit in your recliner with your feet up, and that's comfortable for you.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's nice.
I've tried several other versions of stands and scroll rods and things like that. My issue is I have damage to my spinal column and a lot of pain. And so I have to be in a right position in order to get comfortable to stitch. Yeah. So I've tried floor stands that say they work with recliners, but as soon as my arms get extended to a certain place, I lose that comfort zone, and these work really well. So if you have any issues like that, you might try them. Yeah. And then the other question we had was
I think
about...
that thing has traveled with us everywhere.
It has. Yeah. And it does actually. You take it apart, right here, this just slips out, and you can just fold this in. Okay. And they just... It's
very clever.
That's all the thicker it is when you pack it. A standard Q-snap, the question from... two questions. One was from Helena Knoll, and the other was from Judith Apolis. And it might be Apollos, I'm not sure. The question was, is there a standard size Q-snap? I think the most common is probably the 11-inch, 8, 10, 11, that range. They go as small as 6. And then you can buy extension rods, and you can get them, well, the one we put together for your one piece was almost 22 inches. We did the length on that one. Yeah. So that was for your hometown holidays, wasn't it? Yeah. So it's as big as you want to piece them together, basically. And I think the smallest is the 6-inch. I've never seen anything below the 6-inch.
How big we can make it. Put yours and mine together.
Another video. Make a little house out of it. How big though? Be a costly piece of linen, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Oh man. We're just gonna have to go out and get feed sacks and stitch on those.
Yeah. We had another question by, and I'm not sure, Amaya, I think might be the first name, and then Mariniger. She asked about your Jacobian bell pull. Yes,
we try.
I could spell it. And your Jacobian bell pull, you said, was on a...
I did that on an even weave. It's just a white even weave, 28 count. It was just white. I don't even know if it had a special color.
Okay.
Yeah. And I did that over one.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, bell pulls are really not anything different than the fact that they're longer and thinner than the layout of something else. You have a couple of Quaker pieces that you did that way too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was, I know it was 28 count and it was just a white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alphabet Stitcher suggested that anybody who would like to see that autumn fractor or fractor flowers.
The one that I just got
from La-Di-Da.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't looked at that yet. I want to see that.
Yeah, Julie Reflections and Framing is the channel.
Okay.
And she did a version that she changed out her colors in the linen.
I want to see that, yeah.
Yeah, Alphabet Stitcher said it's very pretty.
Cool.
And then Lisa Abbey from Lisa Abbey's Needleworks wanted you to know that your Farm Fresh egg finish was the best she's ever seen.
Aww,
yes, she really liked that.
You're my new favorite person.
You're deconstruct. Moving right along.
After you, of course.
I know where I sit. I can be bought and I'm in line.
Never.
Susan Morelli. She attempted to watch our last video, and we know what fun that was. Yes. And she was very nice, and she kept in touch with us, and I was trying to collect data to tell YouTube where our problem was. And she was sending me information, and I just want to thank her. She actually said that she was able to update her Adobe Flash version on her computer and also change her browser to Chrome, and it eliminated the problem.
Nice.
And she could see it. So
wow.
Chrome is Google's version of a browser. So if what they're doing is redoing their platform, it makes sense that they'd be using their own software, and it might get difficult to watch if you don't use their software. So that was just, I really appreciated all that information you sent, Susan, and thank you for that. We had another inquiry about Just Nan and the little mice that we do, and the finishing. Deb's going to be going out of town in a few weeks. Next week?
No, actually Monday.
Yeah, soon. I have to get everything I need before she leaves. And I'm going to see.
You're going to be over here taking care of the chickens and hanging out.
I'm going to take care of Donald. I'm going to see if I can't get a finishing version of a Just Nan Mouse videoed to run in sort of a segment where we would normally do our video, so that we can show that information to people who wanted to see it.
You can just have a picture of me sitting next to you.
Oh, what a good idea. It would be quiet.
Hey! That's it. I'm going to have my voice recording or something.
You'll phone in while I'm filming on my phone.
Yes.
Oh, that's funny. Let's see. Oh, yes. Another inquiry was about your finishes and your antiques.
Oh.
Deb is an absolutely beautiful decorator.
Oh.
And you can tell just by the way she puts her pieces together. Her house is put together that way, too. So we're going to do a tour of your finishes and things, right?
Okay, yes.
She says yes.
Yes.
Sometime over the next couple months.
Okay.
We'll work that in.
Okie dokie.
Okay.
Yep.
You just have to be here. It's just a little thing there.
Why? It'll be noisy. Be more quiet.
Oh, all right.
I'll come home one day and you'll be filming in the living room.
Don't bother with us. All right. Well, that's pretty much our comments.
Somebody, and I cannot remember who, but a couple people had talked about these toppers that I got when we were at that merchant mall from Faye Rigsby.
Yep.
And they wanted to know if you can still get them. And yes, I think Faye still has these. Where do they go? Like, what's her?
Carolina Stitchers.
Carolina Stitchers?
Stitcher.
Stitcher. Okay.
Carolina Stitcher.
All right. We'll have to maybe
she
link
has a
that down below or
blogs-
something.
Yes, I'll put it in the
Is that
description
good?
box.
Okay. Okay. So.
Which brings something up. I'm glad you said that.
Yes.
When we ran into trouble with the video, and when I wanted to post a link to a particular designer that people were asking about regularly in the comments, what I did is I go to that video and I put it in the description box. It may not be there when we first do the video if I don't know it's going to be something people have an interest in, but I do go back. I manage that weekly. So if you are looking for something particular or you need information that we were putting out on a certain video, check the description box under that video. Likelihood is that there might be something there that would be helpful that you might be looking for.
And I think I also heard people saying that now that YouTube's doing different things, in order for you to actually get notified that whoever you're subscribing to has a new video, I think you have to actually push the little bell now.
Yeah.
So that's
You have to
too.
request the notification.
Yeah. Can you please tell me?
I do want to hear about it.
Yeah.
So that's good too.
Alrighty.
And we'll go through this transition at YouTube together. Fun is. What we're going to do now for our round robin, we are in the middle of our registration, and I thought that it might be fun to do a Q&A between Deb and I and answer the questions that have been coming in from people who are watching and have an interest in it.
Okay.
So we're going to segue to our interview.
Okay. Interview glasses are on.
Official. Yes, bug eyes. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Alrighty. So Liz,
Yes, Deb.
how does a round robin work?
Oh, a round robin. It works sort of in a circle.
Oh, good.
Actually, what a round robin is, and I'm going to try to do a little bit of a graphic here for you.
I don't know if they can see.
I will
Are you
graph it
gonna?
and
Are you
hold
gonna?
it up.
Oh, gotcha.
I'll
Okay.
do that. I'll do it as we talk.
Okay.
You have 4 people in your group, and there will be 4 pieces that are being circulated. You start with your piece of fabric. You do your motif and your border, or what we're calling dividers, in the piece. And then you mail your piece to the next person on the list. That person
With your fabric and your color.
and your floss. And that person then adds their motif to the piece and sends it to the next person on their list. So when you start, Deb was giving me the finger. Up, Liz, up. You start with the first stitcher and your piece, and the next person on your list would be the second person. If you were the first one, you mail to your next person. You will only always mail to that next address. So all 4 of your envelopes that you address will have the next person's name on it.
The same person.
Same
Like,
person.
Same person.
So number 2 will get number 1's piece, stitch on it, and then number 2 will mail number 1 to number 3. The first round, number 3 gets number 2, number 4 gets number 3, number 1 gets number 4. Second round, number 2 now gets number 4. See if I can do this upside down. And then number 3 gets number 1, and number 4 gets number 2, and number 1 gets number 3. So this just continues in a circle until everybody gets every piece. And
there's only 4 people in a group.
that's
so
right. So you're
it's
only
not
going to
like-
encounter this 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you do it, when you actually get your piece, you'll just stitch that motif and mail it on. So
Yes. And can you show your? Oh, sorry. Yeah, we're going through the. Oh, sorry. I'm really bad at interviewer.
follow your notes.
Okay. Yes. So what do we need?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that, Deb. What do you need? Actually, you'll need a piece of fabric. I actually am using this piece of linen. And I'll suggest, what we're doing is suggesting that you use only a 28 or 32 count linen.
Yeah, because that's what most people
And
like
it
to stitch on.
doesn't bother people who have difficulty seeing either.
Yeah,
You don't have to worry so much.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can use a 14 or 16 count Aida.
Yep.
Or a 28 or 32 count even weave.
Yep.
So
Yep.
once you get your piece of fabric and your floss, you pick out the color palette you want to go with your fabric.
Mm-hmm. As many choices as you want, or it can all be the same color.
I picked out 8. Deb has chosen a palette of 12, which means I'm going to go home and look for another 4.
No, these are beautiful.
Well, they are, but you know what? I like your idea about the fact I was trying to envision what someone else's motif might involve.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I think we'd talked 8 to 12. So you can tell I go to the one end and she goes to the other end. So you just mail your piece with the floss
Mm-hmm.
to the first person on your list, which is your mailee. And so you need your floss and your fabric, and then you'll need your motif. The motif is just anything that's a Quaker or primitive design that you have on a pattern at home, whether it's a sampler or a magazine, and I'm not showing them to you because they are patterns that are printed right now, but mine is just a little Quaker motif. It has a triangle on the outside all the way around, sort of a hexagon, and in the middle is a little robin.
Yeah.
There's another one, I'm on the fence between them. One has sort of half of one motif on the left and an opposing one on the right, and they're 2 different colors, so I'm kind of on the fence, but
Yeah.
that's what I chose to use.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and I actually haven't seen what Deb's doing.
Neither has Deb. I don't know. Oh man. Yes. Okay. So, so what are we stitching?
We are going to stitch one of 2 layouts. This layout, and I'm going to show you a pattern
Yeah, these are beautiful.
here. The layout for what I'm calling the portrait design.
Want me to hold this one up?
Sure.
Okay.
This one that Deb's holding up is the border, the way it will come together in the center, right here. This will be empty. Your initials and the date will go in here if you want to. You could put another motif in there, however you want to design it. And you have 4 dividers that come out from each side. This little square shows you where the inside corner of your motif would be when you place it. So there's a 10 stitch space between your motif and the border, and these are the areas that everybody will stitch in.
Yeah, like
Yep.
through here.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll leave a little bit of empty space just in case anybody's motifs run over or whatever.
Yep. Plus, when I laid it out, I just thought it would look nice to have a little bit of space in between
definitely.
them.
And I love having your own initials in the center.
Mm-hmm.
Love that with the date,
Yeah.
and then everybody can put their own initials. And even somebody else had mentioned the state
Mm-hmm.
that they're from,
Yes.
initials or whatever. In hello. Okay, quiet. So I think that looks beautiful. I love that. And this will be a little bit longer. This is not the right graph paper,
No.
right? So she just wanted to kind of draw it out and kind of give you an idea. And this helps me so much.
And I needed to figure out a way to close
so
these in the middle.
This was the
primitive.
primitive, and this is the Quaker.
Yep.
So again, with the section in the middle for your initials, your date. I love that. And
Each of those dividers on the sides will be 60, well, there'll be 50 stitches.
like long.
And they'll end just like they start. This beginning is the same way they end at the bottom.
Right.
So what you'll get from us for the pattern will have that leg on it, a graph of how it comes together, and then you'll just stitch that leg 4 times on your piece.
Yeah. And then if you wanted to, because we were talking about this, if you don't want your edges open like that, you know, like somebody's motif will be here, but if you want to kind of close it off, you could actually continue a stitch all the way around, you know, your design. If
The outside
that's,
of the border.
yeah, if that's a look, you know, that you like. But I love that. This helps so much. I love when you brought this today. This was like perfect.
Good. Now, this is what you'll be stitching plus your motif.
Right.
What you'll get back then, of course, will be a completed version with 4 motifs.
Right.
The other design layout.
At the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other design layout will include the leg that you stitch, but imagine the design now will be called landscape, so you'll have a piece that will have the same border 3 times, and your motifs go in between
Long ways.
each of those
Okay.
borders.
Okay. So that piece will be long and narrow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
Yep.
the other one's going to be square.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. So do we have choices? Didn't we just...
Yes, you do have choices. What I need from you is whether you would like to stitch primitive or Quaker, and whether or not you're going to be stitching your piece is up to you how you want to do it, but would you be willing to be in a group with someone who stitches Aida, linen, or even weave?
Mm-hmm.
Are you comfortable in stitching all of them or just one
Mm-hmm.
of them? And
yeah.
and then whether you want your pattern from us to reflect the layout of the landscape
Which is
or
long.
the portrait.
Or the portrait. Okay. Gotcha. All right. So how do we register?
Registration is very simple. You send us an email. That email comes to Country Stitchers.
That's our marker squeaking.
Back to our chalk talk.
That's a noisy marker.
At gmail.com.
Country
You send,
dot stitch. Is there a
yes,
dot? Okay.
country.stitchers@gmail.com.
Gotcha.
And when you send that, if you look in the description box from video number 12, and I'll copy that to this description box as well, you will see the questions you need to answer, which are the ones we just talked about, the choices you're making.
Mm-hmm.
When I receive your email, I'll reply with an email that will give you a welcome and an address.
Yeah.
And that address will be where you send a self-addressed stamped envelope.
Mm-hmm.
And when we receive your self-addressed stamped envelopes, we're closing the registration next Friday on the 22nd. When we receive those envelopes, we'll put these patterns and layouts in them and mail them back off to you.
Yep.
And when you receive them, you can start your stitching.
Yes. And I think somebody had mentioned about maybe making a timeline, but I don't know that I want to do that.
No, we just kind of figured since it's summer
Yeah.
that, you know, it's a small motif.
Yeah.
Fit it in when you can.
Yeah. Don't feel stressed.
Nobody's going to get backed up with them
Yeah.
because everybody's going to have to stitch in it. So take
Yeah.
your time, stitch it, mail it on.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to stress is the communication.
Right. Yeah.
We're collecting another question, which is, and I'm glad you brought that up because I
Oh, gee,
forgot to
thanks.
mention that. Can we give your email to the other group members?
Just the ones in your group.
Yes. And what we'd like to do is start the dialogue between you and your group members about questions you may have about your motifs, your layout, what you might need. What if you run out of a color? It'd be nice to email them and say, I have this. Can I
Yeah.
substitute it?
Yeah. Or something happened and, there's a sickness or something in the family and you can get a hold of your other 3 group members and say, look, I am so sorry, but I know I won't get to this for a little bit. Just communication, something like that.
The other thing you might find out is whether or not they live equally distant from you to the local LNS, and you guys
Yeah.
could meet up and meet each other. Who's having the next barbecue? All kinds of things that we hope
Yes.
will enable you to make friends with
Yes.
your group members.
Yes. Very cool. Okay, so I think we already covered this, but when does registration start?
Registration is open now, and it closes next Friday.
Okay. And when does the event start?
The event
I think-
starts...
Yes.
It starts next weekend when we start stuffing everything and get it back to you. So you expect to hear from us no later than the week of July 6th. We're going to start our process of responding to your envelopes as soon as they come in.
Right.
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 And
But we are only 2 people, so.
Yep, and we expect that we will start receiving them sometime this week from the people who registered
Yeah.
early this week. And we'll be doing that through probably the second week of July. So as soon as you get your information back from us, feel free to contact your group members. And we'll make sure that we're sending groups at a time. So one of you won't get it before the rest of you get it.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, and we will do our best.
Yep.
Sounds good.
All right.
Yay. Cool. All
Ta-da.
right. Wonderful.
You know what?
What?
I forgot to mention one thing. Some of you have, in your emails, asked me sizes because you want to start looking at your fabric. So, here is the size of the finished piece in the 2 layouts. Wrote the wrong word.
Your fingers are going to be purple.
I know. It'll look like my belly after the surgery. Okay. 133 square
I'm going to give you the finger again.
is the portrait. Is the portrait size. So, and that's whether you're doing Quaker or primitive. It's off by 2.
So this is stitches.
2 stitch counts.
133 stitches.
By 133 stitches.
Gotcha.
And then the landscape is 269 by 88.
Okay.
So, those of you who have been emailing asking me about fabric, dig away.
Yeah.
And then you'll be ready to start. I want to give you a quick look at this piece. Just as another visual, I wanted you to see how easy this is. This is my start. I was actually going to wait until we rang the bell and everything was out the door before I started, but I wanted Deb to be able to see it too. I just ran the length for you. That's all the longer the border dividers are. That's 60 stitches from the center. So your 50 motif fits right in here, 50 by 50.
Okay.
And all 4 of them will go around. And then right in the center, the person who owns it, who it belongs to, can put their initials. And then you will have this space around the outside, maybe putting them right in this corner. Then you would have like a circle of everybody's initials and dates if you did it that way. Might look a little different if you start putting them on the spokes, but you could actually put them right in here too.
Yeah.
Or you might put it right at the bottom of your motif. So however you want to do it.
Yeah. Very cool.
So imagine that you can just sit with your border, your divider, and just stitch all 4 legs, and then your motif goes in whichever corner. And as they go around, I just think it's up to whoever has the motif next to decide where they want to put theirs, you know.
Yeah.
And the color palette's already chosen by you.
Yep.
So.
And then we'll follow everybody's progress. We'll have a hashtag
Yes.
on Instagram. And everybody then can, oh my gosh.
Here it comes. It's coming out.
So everybody can keep track of everybody's progress and see pictures, and because everything's going to be so different and beautiful.
And
I'm excited.
I came up with an idea. I didn't even tell you about this idea.
What's that?
Is the light going off?
Yes.
If you do not have Instagram, and we'd like to keep you, keep your piece posted so people can see it. Thank you. Send a picture to our Country Stitchers email address, and then I'll upload it to my Instagram.
Okie dokie.
And that'll be slick as a whistle. So you don't have to go out and try to get versed on Instagram. I'm still working on that. She's the guru here. But we can get them posted for you. So just send a picture from time to time of your pieces as they're going around, and I'll post them for you. And this is, according to Deb, what you need. Country Stitchers, capital R, and start it with a hashtag. And who was it who told us, who came up with this? I forget.
Maine Moose Mom.
Maine Moose Mom. Thank you, Maine Moose Mom. She came up with it for us, and that'll be what we use for our postings.
Yes, sounds good.
All right.
All right, what's up next?
Next, we're
Oh,
going
wait.
to...
We didn't do...
we
this
had a
went off,
bell.
but we were so busy.
Ding,
yeah.
ding.
Yeah, we missed our bell.
All right.
So, our subscriber tribute this week goes to My Humble Needle. And she is going to be getting 2 books of cross stitch. This one has a lot of Christmas in it. And a lot of fun kid designs and things like that.
You know what else this was, if my child, I was going to have 3, but I only had 2. I was going to do the nursery in Noah's Ark.
I did McKenna's nursery in Noah's Ark.
Did you?
Yeah.
I thought that was such a cute little pattern there.
Did I show you the Noah's Ark one? You saw that, right? That I did in her nursery?
I don't think
Oh,
so.
I have to bring that down. It's hanging upstairs. Yeah, because I wasn't sure. I thought she was a girl, but we weren't positive. So
Okay.
that worked out well. And then this one, this is called Bugs and Blooms. That's cute too. And there's a lot of different charts, summertime charts and things like that on here. And Liz had a good idea. She was saying there's so many motifs on here you could use for like needle minders or fobs. Yeah, or ornaments. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You could even
So-
do a note card
Yeah.
on the perforated paper.
There you go. So, My Humble Needle. So if you'll get a hold of us, if you're on Instagram, message me or
Or you can use you can now use our Gmail account.
Okay.
country.stitchers
Okay.
at gmail.com.
Okie dokie. And I'll get those out to you. Perfect.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you for doing that, Deb.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are new, every week we pull a subscriber from our registry,
Yes.
and we give a gift as a thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for everybody who subscribes and watches. Thank you.
And we are going to be doing something kind of special coming up soon, aren't we? You want to tell them about it?
Well,
Not yet?
yeah.
All right.
It doesn't matter. We were looking at how close we were getting to 2,000 subscribers, and we just thought that maybe at our next video we would do something just a little more.
Yeah.
Just
This
because
one,
we hit a milestone.
this one will be, in addition to our subscriber tribute, it'll be just sort of like an anniversary event or a milestone event.
A milestone, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So
Thank you.
keep watching. Yes, thank you very much. Next on our agenda is to look at finishes, and you had something you were going to share.
I do have a finish. I finished it a while ago, but I wanted to show it to you because it is so darn cute. Hindsight? How do you say that?
I
Does it
always
matter?
said Hinzite, but I
Hindsight?
never took German.
Oh.
I took Spanish.
I did take German and I can't say it. I can count in German, but that's about it. So it's the mini block ABC Welcome. This is the pattern. It's very long, very pretty. And it does have charms on it, which I think when I did this one, I finished it exactly as they said. I used the 28 count Jobelin. It's lamb's wool, stitched over 2 threads. And I'm pretty sure, the charm attachments.
I
don't
think
know.
you bought the pack.
Did I?
Well, you were working on that right after we met.
Yeah.
Like that spring and summer. And
Yeah.
you had a package of ornaments. Or charms, I mean.
Yeah. It's very long. Watch out, Liz.
Yes.
It's coming over. So this is it, framed and finished. Oh, I'm starting with Z. We'll say the alphabet backwards.
What's on your key?
Okay. My what?
Do you have anything on your key above the letter K? Or on your star? I was just trying to see if you had the same
Yeah, I have a
packet.
heart locket on the key.
Okay. And on the star?
A star.
Okay. It looks like you have them.
Do I? Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So this is it. It's really, really, really cute and fun. What's it called for? Like, there's some DMC and there's also specialty threads, right? Pretty sure. I know this one around the outside is.
They have it, they did their model using sampler threads, weak dye works, and needle necessities.
Oh.
And then they have it graphed for all DMC as well.
Okay.
I remember that, Deb. Weren't
Well,
you?
this I know.
You did the outline in the needle necessities color.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's so pretty. That variegated color there. Oh my gosh, that was beautiful.
I remember that.
Yeah, so pretty. Yes.
That may be why I haven't done mine yet.
Because you don't have that one.
I don't think I got my variegated color yet. You know
So,
what?
What?
Didn't you use a... No, Wild Oats was the color used on your star.
Oh, that star back there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had two
Yeah.
of these mixed
Yeah.
up. She was working on them.
Yeah.
Similar timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very pretty.
Yeah, that turned out really pretty. I don't. Does anybody else have that where you stitch something? Liz and I were talking about this, and you know exactly what was going on in your life at that time when you stitched it? Like when you look at it, you can remember exactly.
I remember when you stitched that.
Yeah, me too. Yes, I was working on this when the house exploded.
Yep.
We had a gas explosion at the house, and I was working on this that morning, and I was sitting on the couch working on it. It was a rainy day, and I didn't have anything else that I, had to do that day, and I thought, oh, it's going to be the best day to stitch. I mean, I had the wash done, the house was cleaned, I could just sit down and stitch that rainy day away, and...
Yep. Surprise.
Yeah. So.
But it came through.
Yep.
So did you and everybody else.
Yeah, that's a long story, but if anybody wants to hear that story, maybe if we get enough people that want to hear it, I'll tell it. But,
it's an amazing story. It truly is.
yeah, a lot of blessings that day.
Absolutely.
Yes. So that was my finish.
All right.
Do you have a finish?
I do not have a finish. I have something I'm working on. I did want to quickly say,
oh,
last video.
Throw it.
The last video, I went to hold this up and I held up. Oh, anyway, I sent it off the top of the table. I bought this at the Merchant Mall. This was my DMC.
Yeah.
There we go.
That is so cute. That was from LaDonna.
It's my floss
Sampling of
ring.
memories.
Yep. And I loved it because the borders we chose to do this came from DMC's antique library, and they're all public domain patterns, which is why we're using them. Mm-hmm. And that's their emblem from that time period. Yeah. So I thought that was neat when we saw that. That is cool. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Nice.
So are you in progress?
Yeah. I mean, I'm still working on Sally Spencer, but I wanted to get this out and start this. So this is, I think I showed it last time I held it up, the Cooler Classic Charts, the Summer Sampler. I'll just show you one more time. It's so pretty. This is the one that has buku backstitching in it. But I did start in the middle. I usually always start in the middle. So I have a little bit of this area done here with the bees and working my way over to the beehive. So this is what I have done so far. Am I holding it upside down? No.
Mm-mm.
Okay. There you go. That's what I have finished so far. And some of the flowers are started. So
very nice.
Yes.
I was looking at your bling over there. You've got your fob from...
Oh, I have my fob from
LaDonna.
Yep. Yeah. And then you made me that needle. Because when I had started it, I wanted to use that needle.
Frogger. Like a laying tool?
No, I actually, it marked my center for me.
Like a counting needle. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's, I got that out and started working on it. I start everything big, and then it takes me forever to finish stuff because I want to keep starting things, so I need to start something smaller also.
We had a phone call from somebody in our guild, Carol, about the video last week. She actually called me about it. But we were talking about that. It's almost like a buzz you get when you're kitting up something new and you want to start something new and you get involved in it, and you have to be careful because you can keep starting.
Yeah, but then I don't like rules either. So,
oh my gosh.
I think there's only one rule that everybody has to follow. Everybody. I don't care who you are, you have to follow it. Stitch what you love and love what you stitch.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. And
other than that...
The thing about rules that made me laugh is that as we're putting this round robin together, I keep getting phone calls. Well, do you have to do this if you choose this? No. Well, I thought you said that you did. Well, do you want to? Well, yeah. Okay. But what do you think? And it's like, I don't know whether to say yes or no because I know you're going to do what you want. And anyway, it was so funny. We had the longest conversation that night about it. But you brought up something I forgot to mention about the round robin. A woman made a comment, and I think her name was, I'm going to look it up because I don't want to misspeak her name. And I was doing the interview, and I overlooked her comment that I had written in here. Kelly Pruitt. She made the comment that what happens if you have a left-handed stitcher and a group of right-handed stitchers? And I thought, okay. Then I realized what she was talking about is the way the stitches lay, and whether you go from bottom right to top left and bottom left to top right and then bottom right to top left, or whether you do it the other way around. So that did bring up the question, and I texted her, commented back that my mother and I stitched in the opposite direction, but we were both right-handed.
I think you and I stitch in the opposite direction.
No?
I
don't think so. I think we go bottom left to top right. I think. Is your final stitch on the top go up to the left or down to the right?
All right. Which way are you holding this?
The top is here.
Okay.
Let me see where my guys go.
Where your guys go?
Yeah, I have to see where it's laying to know if I'm... Yes.
Okay.
So anyway...
so maybe we do. Let me see. I think we do.
I think it probably is true that some left-handed stitchers
we do. Okay.
go the opposite direction.
Huh, I never even thought of that.
There are some right-handed stitchers that also go the opposite direction. So
then we're just going to have to pay attention when we get our thing, right?
Yes, when you start, you'll know what you do. So if you are one of the stitchers, I believe that A is the most common and B is less common. But if you notice, on A, the first leg goes from bottom to top and then goes from bottom left to top right. So bottom right, top left, down to bottom left, top right. That's the more common, with your upper leg slanting. What would that be? Slanting towards the left. And then if you stitch opposite of that, your first leg goes from the bottom left to the top right, and your last leg goes from either top right to bottom left or backwards, whichever way you finish your stitch. So if you know that yours don't always go the same direction as your friends who stitch, then just touch base. Honestly, since you're not stitching within someone else's motif, I don't think it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a small motif, and I don't think it's going to stand out. Certainly not to an untrained stitcher.
Yeah,
so you guys decide that among yourselves in your group.
I never even thought of that.
Yeah, I didn't either till Kelly mentioned that in the comments.
Yeah. Cool. So we'll just pay attention, make sure when we get it, and try to stitch it the same as...
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So you did your in progress. I'll give a quick look at mine, aside from the little bit of my border there. With my carpal tunnel surgery last week, I was just determined I was going to get something done. So I did finish.
She didn't just have that either. She had other surgery too. So you had a rough week.
It was long.
Yeah.
I had my first pieces done. That's the vase.
Those colors on that look beautiful.
They are, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's amazing what you can do with such a small palette of colors.
Yeah.
And then I started the second part, which is the the back of the grandma's heart when you finish it. And that'll have your name in the middle.
And this piece is taught by Beth.
Beth Seal.
Beth Seal.
Mm-hmm. And this is actually the piece itself. It's going to be done at Stitches Unlimited on June 25th. So I'll be joining 2 of our guild members there to do it. It'll be fun. So that's really what I just kept that in my lap frame and worked on it. Yeah. And I have to say I was stitching like Vanna stitches. In one of her videos, she was showing how she stitches. And I thought, where I can't really twist my wrist and stitch the way I normally do, I'll try what she does. She goes down from the top, takes the needle, doesn't turn the needle over, and brings it straight back up from the back.
Oh.
And then pulls it back up from the top. And I thought, I don't have to twist my wrist at all if I do that. Oh my goodness, that worked so well early on, especially when I was limited in my movement, and I was so excited that I could keep stitching. So thank you, Vanna. And
very cool.
That's my in progress. And I think the only thing we haven't touched base on is Gadget Corner.
Yeah, Gadget Corner.
So,
oh wait, I have to say something. I got an Instagram message from, I don't know who, I have to look at her name, but she was so funny because she said, I guess when they were watching the video, her husband was in the room and he laughed when he heard Gadget Corner. So I want to know his name so that I can say, this is for you.
Tool time. Oh, that would have been fun too, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, with summer in mind and everybody on the go, I was looking around my craft room and I thought, you know what? When I got this, it's not something you're going to find in every day in your needlecraft store. It is found in Staples. It's a very narrow little portfolio. It snaps open at the bottom with the good hand. And when you get it open,
so you can...
it holds everything you need. It has a place you can put your needle minder, you can put your scissors. If you're on a plane, one of those small pair of Kelmscott scissors or the little plastic ones, it'll hold thimbles, needles, highlighters, laying tools, and then you can even put your magnetic board with your chart marker.
And look, your pattern, your
and
fabric.
Look, somebody had fabric in a pattern. I put that in there to remind me.
Yeah.
So, it'll even let you put in your bug eyes.
Yep.
So, when you close it up,
watch your fingers.
Yep. And because of the clip at the top, you can you
want me to?
Yeah, please. Can't get that with my right hand. There we go. It holds it nice and tight.
Yeah.
So you can sit.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, you can sit in your car. You can sit in a plane. Everything's there, and I just love it.
Yeah. And then you also said you can also hook a magnifier to this too.
Yes. If you have a clip-on magnifier, not necessarily the ones that we showed on our earlier video, but even just the magnifier without the light. This is thin at this end.
Oh, scared me.
Caught that. This is thinner at this end than it is at the top.
Yeah.
And if you have a really thin one, you can actually just kind of open the bottom and clip it on just the top and just leave it open in your lap. And that works fine. Anything can clip to this because it's just one ply of plastic.
That's really cool.
So, and what's it? Does that actually say something on the back?
Can you see?
Dexas. D-E-X-A-S is the company that makes it, I guess.
Okay.
But that's a Staples. And I think, if I'm not mistaken...
Dallas, Texas. That's cool.
Oh, cute name then.
Wow.
Then I do believe this was under $5.
American made.
So.
And it's red and blue. We
there
just
you
need
go.
white on it.
And like I said, summertime.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because, I mean, it really locks. You're not going to lose your stuff. That's great.
Nope. And it slips, anywhere. You wouldn't have to put it under the seat in front of you. You could put it between your legs. You could put it under your seat. You can stick it under the car seat.
In, you know how there's a lot of those holder thingies on the back of car seats, or especially like in vans, mom vans. You have that. You can stick it in there.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep. So.
I like it.
That's this week's gadget.
Nice.
Thank you for watching Gadget Corner. All right.
Well, I think that's about all we have for you today.
Yes.
Yeah, and I won't be here for a little while. So.
Yeah, be back in 2 more broadcasts if we can get the mouse done. We'll work on that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, very cool.
And?
All right. So.
Remember, share the joy of needlework.
See ya.
Bye-bye.